Here you go. Okay. Like always, this is being recorded, so this will be added to a playlist. I do send that out to all the facilitators, so that way you can always go back and watch this at another time. Welcome everybody to our March VCR Talk. During these talks, we like to look at different career fields, different paths, and get different insight for our students. Today, I have two guests with us. We're going to be looking at the construction field, and I'll go ahead and let them introduce themselves. Dr. Escamilla.
All right. Gracias, Ernesto. So I'm Dr. Edelmiro Escamilla. I'm a associate instructional professor for the construction science department, and also the program coordinator, because as of 2 years ago, we have extended the program there to McAllen. So it is the exact same for Texas A&M construction science program that you would get here in College Station, because that's where I'm at right now, and then going down to the Valley because I'm visiting here to have some meetings. I'm just going to give you a quick introduction of myself, and that was it. And then I'm going to introduce Dani Diaz here, who is one of a young lady from the Valley that has been in construction science. So I'm going to let her tell her story a little bit about what it is. You know, everybody here, and I know this is getting recorded, understand, man, it's construction. I don't want to do construction and here, there. Do you understand what the construction science degree is? If you do not, then that in itself is something that at least pay attention to. It might be something you like doing. I know that in high school, I didn't even know about this, and yeah, it was a long time ago, but I didn't know about this degree. And so there's things that the more knowledge you have, the better you are going to be at making decisions on what your future is going to be. Beyond that, one more bit of advice before I let Dani talk here, is the place you go for the network you're going to gain is as important as the education that you're going to have. So this network of Aggie Networks is really, really good for being able to find people that are always there to help you. So just keep that in mind as we go through. You listen, and hopefully we'll have some questions at the end of this. And so, Ms. Diaz, would you mind introducing yourself and give us a little bit of who you are, what you do, all that good stuff?
Definitely. I am Daniella Diaz. I go by Dani. I graduated from Texas A&M University in 2021. And right now I'm an assistant project manager at Rosendin, which is an electrical subcontractor headquartered in San Jose, California. But they have offices within the United States and a couple of offices outside of the country. So how I got into construction science, I originally wanted to be an architect, and I was set on the idea of being an architect. I had signed up for the architecture program in my high school, and my teacher told me about a program that UTSA had where they showed you for 2 weeks how your college career would look like as an architect. So I went and realized that was exactly what I did not want to do. And so I started to freak out a little bit because it was my junior year. This was the summer that I was supposed to start applying to colleges. And so I started to freak out, and I told my parents, I was like, I've been saying for so long that I want to do this, and now I realize that it's not. So my dad had the idea to visit all the colleges we could inside of Texas and kind of see what other careers within that same industry I could pursue. So our last stop was Texas A&M. And I remember walking in campus and immediately thinking, this is where I want to come. This was way before I even talked to anyone. And so somehow my dad got a meeting with Professor Escamilla, and we talked about what the construction science program was and the kind of difference that I could make if I went in the industry as a woman and as a bilingual woman. And he sold it to me. And so ever since then, I am reassured every day, even going in college and then after leaving college, that I made the right choice. And it's something that I've really enjoyed doing all these years. As far as what careers you could pursue if you enter a construction science program, it's so broad that it's not like you're tied to just one thing your entire life. So you could be a project manager, you could be an estimator, you could be an MEP coordinator, you could be a superintendent, you could be a safety coordinator. There's a ton of things you can do with this degree. And I think that A&M did a really good job at setting the foundation to what the real world was going to look like. Because even though I work with an electrical subcontractor, I know that on the foundation, I see the same types of things that a general contractor sees, and that a plumbing contractor sees, and that even the guys that work in carpentry see. So it's been a really nice experience to be able to walk into the real world and not feel as lost as we sometimes feel after we leave college and enter the workforce.
Yeah. Danny, where did you go to high school?
So I went to high school at Veterans Memorial High School in Brownsville, Texas. When I came in, this high school had, I want to say, like maybe 3 years of existing. And so we also had a Gear Up program. And I was born in Mexico City, so I had zero idea what college was, how to apply for it, what I needed, nothing. I knew nothing. And so my dad was really involved with Gear Up. And so that is how I was able to really look into all these colleges and see what I needed, and get the help also from different teachers as to checking on my essays. Some of my application fees were even waived because of the Gear Up program. So it was a good tool to have.
Okay. So tell me, when you got to College Station and you were sitting in there, because of the young ladies who might not think that construction is all for them, right? How many young ladies did you see in your class?
So my first class that I ever had in the construction science department, we were 24 students, 23 of them were male, and then it was me. I never saw this as a disadvantage. If anything, I saw it as a way to stand out. And it was definitely told by a lot of people that construction is a male-driven industry, that there's not a lot of women, that you're gonna have to get used to some type of words that are being used in construction, all of this stuff. But I think that as I've entered this industry, I realized that there's a lot of people that are very willing to mentor you. And especially the women that have been in the industry for 20 plus years, they're the ones that have really broken that glass ceiling, and have really made an effort to kind of take younger women in their wing and guide them into the construction industry. I mean, by no means is the construction industry fixed per se, but I think that from entering the classroom and only being the only woman, to now working in projects where the project managers of these huge buildings are women, I think it says a lot about the good path that we're entering within the construction industry.
How about let's add a little bit more to it, because I know Region 1 is and correct me here, Ernesto, if I'm wrong, but it is, the demographic is highly represented by Hispanics, ¿verdad? There's a huge portion that are that way. So you, as una Latina, what was that like when you came here also? Because the males you're talking about predominantly were white male, ¿verdad? And then the rest, there was a few. How many Hispanics did you see around you? And did that make you kind of like have, I don't know, make you kind of standoffish or anything like that?
I think Hispanics in the construction industry, I want to say we were like 10.
In the whole.
And it wasn't really intimidating. Um, but it was difficult sometimes to create those connections because obviously your culture and your backgrounds are different. But I 100% met so many great people that were willing to help me out and also listen to what I had to say. Um, Obviously within the construction industry, especially in the operations side of things, not necessarily in the field, it's predominantly white male. And the thing is, if you do decide to go into the construction industry as a project manager, estimator, etc., you have such a big advantage by the fact that you speak Spanish, just because every single field worker is Hispanic. And so at the end of the day, your job is to make sure that they have what they need to make all these awesome structures. And if you can communicate with them in Spanish, it's even better, because even though in the title sense, you might be higher in the pyramid per se, these guys and these women are the ones that know what they're doing. And so if you take the time to get to know them and talk to them, you can learn so much, and you can be even more proficient at what you do because you understand the point of view of the people that are working in the field. So I think that it is an excellent career path for anyone that is Hispanic and that really likes this type of stuff, because you would have such a great advantage over the people that are currently predominantly or the majority in this industry.
So I'm going to talk to you a little bit more when I get my chance here at the end, is to tell you about the program itself. So don't worry about it. Just think about right now as this is another opportunity for those who love the built environment. And what does that mean? Those people who like to be entrepreneurs, the engineer types, the architect types, the business types, the builder types that like to make problem solving. We are problem solvers, and that's what it is. We talk construction, but we're about you're making decisions on things that are getting built, and you have to have the best way forward. So this is a very exciting field that you will be standing on your 2 feet as you get out of college and making decisions. So Danny, that brings me to your question there. So you're in college, you went through your freshman year, a little tough maybe, then your sophomore year, you start getting the hang of it. And then right at your junior year, you're probably going to your internship. What was that like, knowing that you had, let's say, 3 years? Did you have any experience before that in the field, and then, or was internship the very first time you went out there, and what was that like for you?
So I had no construction background whatsoever. And I am the first one in my family to go into this industry. So what I did is A&M has these awesome career fairs. And so one day as a sophomore, I decided to just go and see what happened. I was like, I'm just gonna go and talk to people and kind of get the nerves out and see what it's like before I really do have to make a decision my junior year for an internship. And so I went to the career fair, and I talked to a couple companies. You kind of just tell them like, hey, I'm a sophomore right now, but I'll be looking for an internship in my junior year. And I ended up talking to Rosendin, which is a company that I work for now. And they told me that they didn't hire interns for the summer. So I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. I just kind of wanted to introduce myself, and then I just left. And then the next day they called me and told me they wanted to talk to me. And so I met with them, and it turns out they hired me for the summer. And so it was very unexpected, and I wasn't sure what I was walking into, especially because I wasn't in the mindset of I need to find an internship. It kind of just happened. And so during this internship, I did a lot of the what do you call it? Like the clerical side of construction. So a
Yeah,
lot of document
control.
control, like reading RFIs, updating the drawings, sending out emails, a lot of work that required me to be in front of my computer. And so after that internship was over, I wanted to make sure that I had field experience. And so my junior year, when I did need to have an internship, I went with Spoglass and I interned with them from May all the way to December 31st. And I was at the Brownsville International Airport. And so I was there from when it wasn't closed in all the way till almost turned over to the client. And I got to have so much field experience. And I think that was great because it makes you connect the dots between what you're learning in the classroom and what is happening in the field, basically. I think, like I said before, A&M did a great job at setting that foundation and exposing us to these different documents like RFIs, which means requests for information, memos, which were really important, how to write letters, how to write memos, also how to write emails. All of that stuff was super important because I want to say 80% of my job is doing all of that stuff. Reading plans, all of that is something that really helped. And so I didn't feel as lost as I imagine I would have if I hadn't had all of those opportunities that I did with A&M.
Very good. I know that time flies by right here. We're at 10:17 right now. So does anybody out there have any questions for Danny or herself right now? Maybe something. And look, again, the best prepared you are, the better you're going to make decisions, right? So anybody have any questions for this young lady who can answer?
One thing I wanted to bring up is, Danny, I did not know you were a Gear Up student. Basically, all our students here are Gear Up students, so they're following pretty much the same path that you took, which leads me to ask, you kind of mentioned it a little bit. How much did Gear Up help you in basically making that college decision, helping you be prepared, things like that?
A ton. Like I had no idea of what college was here in the States, and I didn't know, like, I know a lot of students prepare since they're in elementary, and I literally went into high school. I didn't know that people already had an idea of where they wanted to go. And so with Gear Up, I know we also had field trips. And so we went to UT, we went to A&M, we went to TCU. We went to all these, a couple of different colleges. And so it kind of helped you visualize yourself in that space. Like, oh, can I see myself walking inside of this campus? And then also when I was working on my applications, this was during the summer, we had workshops. And so a lot of students would come and they're kind of working their application, and we had a couple of counselors that would help us out and guide us through that whole process. So by the time that I entered my junior year, I already had applications sent out or almost ready to send out.
Very good. Very good. Anybody got any other questions? Some of that. Great job, Danny.
If you do come up with any questions though, as we're going, please just type them in the chat, and that way we can have them ready to go as well. If you don't want to ask them.
So I will keep on going here, and so if you don't mind,
go ahead.
right now,
Yes.
Here's a good thing about it, Danny. So I'm gonna Appreciate it. Gracias for everything. And hang around there. Maybe you can correct me on some things. The good thing about what Gear Up Region 1 has done for us is that we're going to be able to have a local construction academy, and then we're going to have one that tours around Texas. So the best part of this is you get to hang out with me for about 5 days on both of those, okay? So you hang out with me. I'm going to tell you all about this. I'm a maroon and white guy, so Texas A&M is who I'm going to push hard, but I understand that you might say, well, college is not for me. So I'm going to tell you my story here a little bit in the amount of time, and you'll hear it again if you hear it this summer. Pero let me just tell you about, we all come from different perspectives. We come from different pathways. So I'm going to tell you a little bit. I'm going to set the page right here, as hopefully this works. I'm going to set, let me see, I'll share it. Let me see here. That was a good one. Let me do this. Let me F5 it right there. Okay, so quickly here, I'm going to run through this. You're going to see it again in the summer if you come. Please speak with your, and I'm sorry if I get them wrong, coordinators, with the people in Gear Up that help you, that you can come in and be part of this in the summer. Look, if you're even interested in just a little bit about this, let me tell you, because I guarantee you'll be like, I didn't know that. I didn't know you could do that. And so let me at least give you that much. And those that want to go into the trades, we need those heavily. Danny can tell you, the ones who are going to build it for real or get the real stuff in place. We call it work in place. When they do that, we need those professionals to do that. What I'm going to tell you is, great, you want to do that, but think about the future line that you want to do, and let's see where you want to be. So don't be también what I feel comfortable in. I'm comfortable because I did this in school. I like it. I did this. I'm great at, I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to pick one. Something we do in carpentry or something like that. I'm good at it. And I'm going to do that for the rest of my life. Okay. But mira, sabes qué? Shoot for a little higher on that and see if you can then manage your own business doing that. Have the people. There's things about what we do here about the networking and what the skill set that we're going to introduce to you is going to make you better. Okay. So think about those terms. Okay. Give me at least that much attention. So what do we do? Construction science. And it is at the Higher Education Center. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about McAllen because we're there. But College Station, this is the main area here. It's the same class, same courses as you got to go through. So that's me at the top, Dr. Edelmiro Escamilla. That's why I told you who I am. The guy on the bottom, and I have the context. I'm getting to Mr. Gonzalez here, is the advisor. And so if any questions you have on advising, we're in McAllen. This is the building we're in. This is College Station. This is Danny went to school here and got to see this right here. She got to be part of this right here. I think this is an estimating class. Was that fun, Danny? Estimating is a little tough, right?
Estimating was one of the toughest classes I've ever taken, but I think it was such an eye-opener. And now that I work and do this for a living, I do not regret this class at all.
Very good. Very good question. Look, I'm going to tell you real quick with my cursor, see if I can move. This man is about as old as I am. He came back to school. I don't know if you remember him not, but this guy came in. He was an electrical master electrician coming in, worked forever. Man, this guy, I was always nervous to talk in front of class about management because this guy was, goddamn, he was coming back to get the degree. And I was like, man, this guy already knows as much as I do. And I would look at him and he'd agree. So he's a great guy to get along with. Here's our young lady. You see her right here to the right. You see everybody else. This is a typical demographic of the class. Pero sabes qué, ladies and gentlemen, you don't take it, like Danny said, as a disadvantage. You come in here, you bring culture, you bring where you come from. That is the part here that we're only going to make better. That networking is the part that I think sometimes Latinos have a problem on. They kind of back off a little bit. They want to show it through work. You got to come in here and we say it la perica, right? You got to be able to talk. And so my thing is, I will always hold you accountable. Danny can tell you, she sat in my office before. I'm going to say, get out there, get in front of people and do that. I'm not going to leave you alone. What do you need help on? And that's what I'm here for. I'm here in the Valley, but I'm also here in College Station that if I can help you in any way. So let's continue on. A&M is well known for their core values. And I know them as respect, excellence, leadership, loyalty, integrity, and selfless service. This is them. This is what will be bestowed upon you as you come in and being a student. And this is what I live by. This is what you live by. And it is a great networking, opportunity where it brings everybody together. These are the people who are more for the Valley here, but this is our department head. He's interim, Dr. Phil Lewis. I'm going to have a meeting with him, actually. That's why I'm here in College Station. Shelley's the undergraduate program director. There's Wesley. You can have his contacts. The good-looking guy on the right is me. So you can go in there and contact me anytime you want, okay? So a little bit, just really quickly here, because time will fly. This is construction management. So again, all those that think about engineering, even technology, there is those that right now you're running through Revit, you're doing AI, VR, AR, anything you can think of. It is used here too. This is about developing or delivering a building, but then all the processes that go through that. We build it on computers first, and then we go and do it. And there's opportunities in that side too. So technology, engineering, architecture, business, entrepreneurship, builders, leaders, anything you're going to go in there is all about this. This is just a focused area. That is a big, if you ever heard of this term, the GDP. This is the global domestic product, I think that's right. That for a United States is actually very much a good portion is all about construction. And so in the infrastructure, just think about this. You got to listen to the news. The infrastructure builders are coming. So they're going to need builders. They're going to need those that know how to go in there and manage projects. You're in a great spot for that. Look at the workforce is about to retire. They're older. You need the younger people coming in. These are for, again, business, management, planning, technology, law, if you want to go into the law side. Safety I didn't put on there, but as another side. We have a curriculum here that has classes like the introduction classes, graphics, reading plans, safety, ethics, how to read materials and methods, how to understand that from the type of concrete, the types of woods to everything like that goes to with it. Estimating, systems. When Danny talked about MEP, that's mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems. Remember, we worked in the buildings. What keeps you cool, what keeps you warm, what lets you be able to see, what be able to get air conditioning into you. All those are systems that we use to be able to be comfortable. Surveying, you have to be able to site that we're going to have. Planning, law, and then your internship that you go away. And then controls, which is another planning. We are planners, decision makers, problem solvers. It's 120 hours. Fall is coming up again here. Deadline, December 1. Do not sit on it. If you're a junior now, you should be working on this. At least try, get out there. Don't go in there. And I'll tell you my story a little bit toward the end of this, but mine's a little different than when I came back to school. Starting salaries, average. How many students are here? How many graduates do you have per year? Are there scholarships available? Right? How many get job offers? Was usually this is a great field to be in. What happened to the other 11%? Right? Well, the other 11% go to their masters, or they go into military, or they go into, and some people just to say, I'm going to take a semester off or the year off. I'm going to go travel. I couldn't do that, but some did. And so there is a great opportunity to have a job right when you get out. I want to say that's very good odds on that. We have about 205, 210. It fluctuates of companies that come and hire our students, from Exxon to the Chevrons to the subcontractors like Polk and what Danny is working right there. And it's I'm sorry, Danny. Your company is called, Danny?
Rosendin.
Rosendin. Okay. There's many. Yeah, you go in there, what Danny said about the career fair, it is absolutely crazy how many companies are there to hire our kids. Students on internships, the sectors, I'll go through this kind of quickly here. We work in the commercial, your school, hospitals, stores, things like that, entertainment, residential, home building, heavy civil. I know people don't like this, all the road design, right, that you got to go out there and it slows you down. You got to go through. It's got to get done. Infrastructure. This is what it's all about. And then industrial. Out of the valley, I just heard now that they're going to be able to do the what is it called, the oil and gas, but their natural gas. They're going to invest billions of dollars into building another one there on the port. And so imagine this is coming to us, and we're going to need people who have jobs, and they pay very well. So again, residential, commercial. In the summer, we're going to go visit this. So hopefully you have Cowboy fans out there. But we have to go see Cowboys and see about this, built by a bunch of Aggies. And so, yeah, it's a pretty neat story behind this. So infrastructure, industrial. I'm just going to fly through this because these are some of the tracks. And these are titles that they give the students, titles. Field engineers, superintendent. You heard this through Danny. Project managers, estimators, schedulers, sales, safety coordinators, virtual construction. And now, if you want to be like me, then you work for a while, then come and teach. Well, they have that side too. Yeah, I know some of you have CTE teachers, technical colleges, community colleges, university, research on. We have one right now who's doing it through the VR to be able to sense what it's like to be in a flooded area, and then they make the decision making for planning and then how to construct better. Or that's what their intent is, right? But they first got to see how people react. So there's a lot of research that goes into the construction methodologies. Lawyers, business people, consultants. These are some of the students here that we have that come in here. What a great thing, right? Get out there and go get it done. Go build stuff. You can study abroad. I didn't take advantage of this. What I did actually really cool here, I got to take 2 other people and we decided to do La Ruta Maya. For myself, we went to Mexico side. We went all over to Guatemala. We went and saw a bunch of the sites there. That's what we did. But this is one that's available to you that's in England. You can go a semester away or 5 weeks. And this is something that's available. This is what we do. We prepare people who are going to be leaders. That are going to be leaders. And so at the very end, I'm going to ask you, Danny, what would you recommend these students to start working at as a skill set, and see what you think. And then I'll give you mine. So let me tell you this really quickly here. When you come into summer with me, I'm going to tell you more stories about this, but this is actually a tradition at A&M of the pennies on Sully. And I'll tell you this, and I won't tell you those stories because we'll run out of time. Yes. It is the pennies on the left right here. That stack is mine. Those belong to my dad. And when he passed away, I went and took them from his truck. And I kept them until I graduated my PhD. And I did my defense. Right before that, actually, I did my defense after this. I went and because he asked for luck, right? Danny, did you ever do this? Like we needed luck for estimating maybe?
I did it right after I sent my application.
Okay. You go lay a penny on Sully and you can see on there's nickels and quarters. And I mean, it's funny sometimes. The IOUs are in there. There's all kinds of stuff that people do. But those are mine. And so I got through. I had a daughter when I moved to College Station. That's what I'm going to say. So I'm going to flip forward. This young lady right here. That's me. I don't have my ring yet. I was starting out myself. I came back at 27 years old, married, and that little girl was on my shoulders to come and go do school. I made it through. She started school when she was ready to go. That's what this is right here. And I got her through construction science. You're saying, well, of course, that's what you do. That's what I believe me. How many times I told her, are you sure? And now she works for Turner Construction. They're in Georgia. The guy she married was one of my first students in one of my classes, Eric Sanchez. So he works for Hanover. They're doing well. Actually, they're in Japan right now doing their honeymoon. They just got married not too long ago. They're out there. And so they're working in construction, a young lady, both Hispanos that are getting it done through construction. So that's us there. You can see us a little closer right there. And so it matters. I was also had the privilege of myself to be able to say, how am I going to give back? So this is my mom and my dad. I set a scholarship up. We're about to have a scholarship here. So one of our students will get the scholarship that I have set up for my mom and dad, because my dad had 3rd grade education, worked out in the farms, worked out in the fields, became a manager for about 200 people working under him. And he taught me what it was to be a good manager of people, to be authentic, dar tu palabra, to probably break down. I'm sorry, but these are things that I remember from my parents. And that's why I said culturally, what we bring to the table is very strong. We don't forget it. We only hone it in and make it better. So this is something you can do for your own family that says from here on out, somebody will receive a little help. And you did it for who got you there. And that's what I ended up doing there. I don't need a pat on my back. What this is what I feel about education and how important it is. Again, we'll finish off right here. Puts you real close to just questions. But these are the people you got to talk to. I'm right there. You can catch me. You have Wesley Swanson right there for the advisor. Shelly Smith here in College Station for the undergraduate program director, and our interim department head. So that's my spiel. I can get way deeper, but right now I work construction for about 13 years as a project manager. I did about 7 as a designer. My background is architecture, but construction I see has been a great field to be in. So that's what I teach in now. I teach project management, graphics, how to read plans. I've done a little bit of everything here. I've done ethics classes, everything you can think of. I think I've done here before, and so it matters. Some of you might want to go to your PhD. Talk to me about that. You want to go out there and work? Let's talk about it. But don't sit back. I tell my kids here, and the kids are my students. You know, if somebody else is battling it, trying to get ahead, if you're going to sit back on your hands, they're going to pass you up. Don't be, I didn't do it. Why? Why didn't you do it? So go get it done. Remember, somebody 27 years old, it took a while. So I'm telling you, don't follow my road. Let's do another one. So I'm available here. Any questions? Anything you got to say? I'm here. And then we can close it out or whatever you're thinking, Mr. Gonzalez.
Okay, really quick. Thank you, Dr. Escamilla. Thank you, Danny. Actually, if you can leave the PowerPoint up real quick, because I have one question that goes back to it. One of the reasons I wanted to have the two of you all here and talk about construction sciences because I actually went on the tour of Texas with you last summer, and I thought it was awesome. I learned a lot. I didn't know what all the different fields that there are in construction. I think you had a slide that showed all the different fields you can go into. When I think of construction, I just think the worker, the out there doing that with the hammer, the tools, and that's about it. As you can see there, one of the things I liked, and that's why I wanted to bring you on, is because you show all those different. You can go and basically in construction science, and you have the option to go into all these different fields, all these other different jobs you can do. So I had a great time on that trip. The students. Basically, if you're interested in something like this, make sure you talk to your facilitators. It is limited though, so
It is. I know.
make sure you
I would
talk
say
to your
if we-
facilitators about it. One of the cool things that I did learn, and a lot of students did enjoy. Well, Cowboy Stadium, huge for me because I'm a huge Cowboy fan, so that was awesome. But I think if you went, it was under your industry sectors slide.
Was it this one right here?
Yeah, right there.
Okay, that's
Right there was this commercial. One of the things that you did do, and I think was really eye-opening for the students, and they got to see it, and I learned a lot out of it also, is when we took the students into, was it the 18th floor of that building?
It is,
and
and
being
it's
worked
actually,
on. So we got to learn about what it takes to build a building that big, how they were going level by level, what they were doing for each level, and everything from the glass. And so that was really interesting.
so this was the building we were in. This was before we went a bit when it was a little bit later on, but this is it right here.
Yeah,
This
so
is the one there in Austin. So you can go in there and the highlight. This young lady right here, her next thing is to go out there to the industrial, to the things that I was showing you on there for industrial that are out in the ocean, is get on the helicopter, and that's the project team on there. It's unbelievable. So Danny here, what is your skill set? And I'll tell you mine after a while, that you think these students ought to be working on for themselves for to be successful in something like this.
I think one of the most important ones is knowing how to manage your money and knowing how to manage your time, because once you know and understand the importance of managing your own stuff, you'll learn how to manage someone else's time and someone else's money. Because my day-to-day involves budgeting and making sure that I distribute the money how the best way possible for the project. And so we're not talking about hundreds of dollars, we're talking about millions of dollars. And so understanding how to manage your own money and your own time, it's super important. Also, soft skills like talking in public, knowing how to work like Excel, Word, those basic systems was really important as well. And I mean, I can't tell you the amount of times, like I remember I showed one of the senior project managers how to look up words on a PDF. I changed his life. And so knowing those little things is really important. And if you know about certain programs that are maybe not being used in the industry, there's always a way for you to introduce them. So I think that construction has always been categorized as not a creative field as an architect maybe would be. But I think that there's so much room for creativity and input from you and your personal experiences that really help this industry grow. So I think those skills are very important, and whatever extra you can learn will only help you.
Beautifully put. I can't add any more. Communication, you broke that. I think we're good with that. Mira, ladies and gentlemen who are out there listening, and if you have anybody or any of the gear, I'm sorry if I call you Gear Up people, but people from Gear Up, help us get a full higher education center camp and one for the tour of Texas. We'll have a good time. It gives me a chance to then slow down and talk to you a little bit deeper about things. So if you're interested, I want those interested, because I'm about to hold you accountable to making, you know, hey, you got my time. I want your time to be well spent. So come in there and look for me. We'll have a good time. You get fed well. And then we'll talk about this industry, and we'll have people like Danny here come and talk to us. And while we're driving around, that was the other thing that Mr. Gonzalez can tell you. We went everywhere we'd go, we'd have people talking to us, and these are students of mine, or vice presidents or presidents of companies, and being able to show off what they do. There's a lot of passion that goes on to my projects. You can feel it in Danny also. These are mine. I'm working. This is mine. And so that is a lot of service to yourself on feeling good about what you do with the degree you choose to go to college with. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Gonzalez? You tell us.
On the closing, no, just that's awesome. That's basically on the closing note, there were a couple things that did stick out to me though, what Danny was saying. Even in the construction field, it's something we've been telling our students. Those soft skills are needed out there. And I like the way she brought that across. And even the reading and writing, that is important. And then also with the Gear Up, we are having those camps this summer where we're going to intentionally helping students write their resumes, start working on their college essays. So those are things that we are actually doing right now through our Gear Up program and working on. Again, I want to thank the two of y'all. Actually, we have about 2 minutes. I just want to ask one more quick question of you, Dr. Escamilla. If students start this construction science program, do they have to go to A&M, or can they do it here in McAllen?
No. So so here's the thing. So Mr. Gonzalez, they will apply to A&M, but then there's a box in there that says, I want to go to McAllen. And it's not A&M McAllen, it's Texas A&M. So they'll get the rings, just like Danny. Where's your ring? There you go. The ring that goes with A&M, that's the big thing, right? So these are Texas A&M Aggies. The thing about it, they can go begin the career in construction school there in McAllen and finish there. They can stay there the whole time. They can transition 2 years later as they want to, up to College Station if they want. They can come backwards. They can go from College Station, come back down to the Valley. The Valley is in much need of capacity for construction. There's a lot of stuff going on. You're going to see a lot of things coming in there. And so we need those. And that's why companies are very supportive of us, is because they need to find that workforce, and they pay very well. And so they can start and finish there in the Valley. They can start and transition. They can transition back both ways, and it's up to the student. They're Texas A&M all the way through.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, thank you, Ms. Diaz. Thank you, Dr. Escamilla.
Absolutely.
This was very helpful for our students, and thank you again for doing this with us today.